Hello. James Tavernier will be saying farewell to Rangers this summer, but James Forrest is staying with Celtic. His captain, Callum McGregor, might stick around too, but there are some conditions. It's been a week when the legends have tackled their futures, Gav. So here's a couple of legends for you here. I'm Michael Gannon, this is Gavin Berry. This is Game On, your weekly hot take podcast brought to you by Record Sport. Gav, we're going nowhere. Well, not that we know of. But thanks to our wonderful sponsors, NordVPN. Before you jumped in and told me there, how we mentioned for our NordVPN, protects your private data like bank details, passwords, and online identity, of course. To get the best discount from your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/GameOnPod. We've got links in the description box. Get on there for your discounts and all the rest of it. It's a must-have in the modern internet age.
And then is that the comments underneath slaughtering us?
Well, I stop at that point because as you know, my ego's very fragile.
Don't read below the line. That's
yours. Don't go below like no. Listen, we love the comments. We love the comments. Well, although I must admit we have run aground with our tipping, having been last year being on top of the game and tipping hot grand nationals and football coupons and all that stuff, and we had a great run, didn't we? But it seems to have run aground.
Yeah.
This year, unfortunately.
I think I was off that weekend of the Grand National one, so no joy there.
No. They're still looking for my horse. It's either still running or it's took a detour to the glue factory. I'm not entirely sure. But listen, anyway, on with the show. Speaking of non-runners, looks like James Tavernier's race has been run at Rangers. Yeah, that was quite good. That was off the hoof.
Just comes naturally to you.
Tavernier's decided that he's going to call it a day at Rangers. He'll continue, obviously, playing. It's got people talking about his legacy and how he'll be remembered at Rangers. So what do you think?
I think, well, first of all, I think having now made the decision, a lot of fans seem to have sort of changed their mind. He's one of these guys. I've rarely seen a player divide opinion as much as James Tavernier.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable. He's obviously contributed so much from a position of right back, quite incredible
numbers are phenomenal.
And yet it's about the goal. Some will point to the goals that he cost and the lack of trophies. But I think what cannot be disputed, Michael, is for 200 grand. I mean, in terms of value for money, pound for pound, he must go down as one of, if not the best ever signing.
Best ever signing?
Well, in terms of value for money. For £200,000,
that's a good
to lead to a European final, to lead them to their first league title in a decade.
Is there two? Obviously recency bias will come in, right? So I mean, if he wins the title this season, that will change things as well, I think. But up at this point in time, people look at the 3 trophies in 11 years as Rangers captain. Is it fair to batter him with that stick? And people will say that he's been present for a lot of the disappointments they've had. That's the famous word, isn't it? Mm-hmm. They say, listen, I feel for the guy. He's the captain, having to front up after certain disappointments.
And always has.
And what's he going to say?
And to be fair, he always has.
He always has. And I think very few times he's not faced up to that. I think history will be kind to him, because I think when you look at it, Rangers came out of that deep despair period of the down in divisions and all that stuff, and then having to rebuild, and there was bumps along the way. I think getting to that point of winning a league, albeit I know behind closed doors and it wasn't the way they wanted to do it, but even getting cups and then winning the league and the European run, I think when history looks back, going from the 4th division to a European final is one of the greatest stories in Scottish football.
Yeah.
Regardless of silverware and all this, that is one of the greatest stories in our game's history, and he is the captain.
Yeah.
And time will be good to him for that reason alone.
I agree.
I think so. So I think his position is safe in Rangers history.
No other Rangers captain has, gone through. Well, no other Rangers captain for a start skippered them in the lower league. So right away,
that's what I mean.
He was the circumstances have to be taken into account, and I think that's why some of the kind of criticism is harsh.
Yeah, I think so. But listen, if he wants to speak to anyone about legacies and criticism and all that stuff, and how you're viewed over time, a good guy to speak to would be across the city, Neil Lennon at Celtic.
Exactly.
Lennon, legend as a player, manager, successful, goes away, does well elsewhere, goes back, wins again, then vilified during that season we talked about in there, James. Tavernier. Time has kind of healed that. And there's even chat about Neil Lennon come back for a third spell as manager.
Well,
Celtic looking for a manager. He's led them at a Scottish Cup.
I know.
He might win the Scottish Cup against Celtic.
I know, but that's the thing, and you're laughing as you ask it, and I think it is totally unfair. I do think he is a guy who is, his achievements aren't recognised enough, for what he did. And I know that, when he was in that sort of interim spell, first time around before he got the job permanently, I remember being at a press conference one time when he really kind of came out fighting as if to say, show me a bit more respect, what I've done in Scottish football, as a player. And I do think there is that kind of, he doesn't get the respect he deserves. But and you are sort of sniggering a bit, and I know why, because
It just seems a bit incredulous.
No, because I know, but you're right. But it probably shouldn't. It should be a more serious debate. But you just know it can't be, because you know now what the reaction will be like from the Celtic fans. As you say, he was kind of vilified in that last season.
He was treated very, very badly.
He was.
I mean, I know the results were poor and it wasn't going well. I think he's a victim of the circumstances. People were locked in the house and couldn't get to games.
Yeah.
Results were going badly and they took it out on him. And I think
what was at stake?
I think a lot of what was at stake. I think a lot of supporters should feel guilty about how he was treated at that period in time. Yeah. I think it has. I think time has been a healer. I think he's now back to his status as a club legend is secured as well.
Well, you're right, but I also think in some of his media duties, I think he's been viewed as a bit of a spokesperson for the board. So
that's
even
true.
those who did forgive him, he's spoken out a lot in defence of the board.
But that's
around
also
about the time when Brendan Rodgers, just before,
in
fact, the very week before, I think it was at that game at Tynecastle just before Brendan Rodgers went. I think he was in Sky Sports Studio that day, and he really was came out in defence of the board. Which makes you wonder if he knew it was maybe around the corner.
Yeah, well, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes with the fallout.
I just don't think.
But that's also why he's back in the talking point, because he's got close links to the club. He's close with the ownership. I don't think Neil Lennon's Celtic story is finished. I think there is another chapter at Neil Lennon's Celtic story. I don't think it's now, though. I think for what you're saying, I think the board need probably a fresh start, rather than go back to another returning manager. And Neil's been there 3 times now, Rodgers twice, Lennon twice. I don't think you can go back again.
Well,
I think it has to be something fresh.
The board need to. I mean, they're trying. I mean,
they have to make.
Fans are wanting them out.
But as I say, I don't think Neil Lennon's Celtic tale is over, because I think he's a very, very good manager. He's Dunfermline are one to watch in getting him for that level. He's delivered success pretty much everywhere he's been. Celtic trophies left, right, and centre. First time, a second time. Get Hibs promoted. Got him finishing 3rd as well. Remember?
Yeah.
Went to Cyprus, won a trophy, and took them into Europe. The great results in Europe in Cyprus. But Bolton was a bit of a basket case when he went there. I remember that job.
But that's more to do with Bolton.
They were at a terrible state at that point in time, And then look what he's done now at Dunfermline. He might even get them back up as well, which would be incredible. I think he'll get them back up eventually. He stays. But he's a top manager, and I think at some point he's still only early 50s. I mean, Martin will come back 20 years later. There's more. The Celtic story for Neil Lennon is not finished.
But whether it's Neil Lennon or whether it's someone else, will the next managerial appointment be enough to keep Callum McGregor happy? You spoke to him yesterday, Michael. Came out with, he didn't really pull any punches, did he?
Strong stuff.
Was he right, the Celtic captain, to challenge the Celtic board? He's talking about matching his ambition type thing.
And also saying that even a double this year wouldn't paper over the cracks. I mean, pretty strong stuff for a Celtic captain come out and say it, and I think he wanted to say it. There was some big echoes of Brendan Rodgers, what he said 12 months ago, or in the summer, last summer. And
it's interesting, given he's actually coming in for some criticism. That's the other interesting thing. A lot of people say, well, you shouldn't be part of it going forward.
But I think it's very much a small. The people who are criticising Callum McGregor are a small but noisy bunch. I think so.
I think it's growing. Anyway,
we're talking about legacies. My goodness, one of the greatest captains that Celtic ever had.
No, but that's football.
It is. It's in the here and now. I just think it's interesting because Celtic board have copped flack from all angles, right? I mean, they've got it in the neck all season, and rightly so, because they've made mistakes. I mean, you go back to last summer. the Rodgers situation wasn't handled very well. And Callum McGregor has been there and done it for 23, 24 years at Celtic. He's been there since he was 8 years old. Seen it and done it. If he's telling them what he thinks is this year has been a lack of ambition, or that's what he's implying, because by saying that, you're saying this year hasn't had that ambition. He's seen the heights that have been at certain times and then watched it fall down. So he's basically saying, I think the fans will be loving reading that this morning in the paper, because it's finally someone at Celtic identifying that, this has been a problem this year. Things have to change to get to where the club should be. So the Celtic board should listen to Callum McGregor. I mean, listen, he could say, listen, he's at a certain age, if he has to go, they wish him all the best and all that. I get all that. I think he's still a top player and should be kept, especially with so many changes needed this summer. To have that continuity in there, I think he'd be a key figure. But him calling out the board is a bold move. I'm not calling them out, but challenging them to match his ambition, because he wants what's best for Celtic. He doesn't understand quite why this has been allowed to happen this year. I think it's a good thing for supporters. And a good thing for the board, because if you don't listen to the club captain, then who you listen to? Sorry, listening fans are just they get reactionary, they just get upset. Oh, they're troublemakers. Oh, the media are just stirring up the pot. The pundits are just getting an agenda. These are all things that the club can go, we're cutting it's unjustified flack we're getting here from these angles who've all got agendas, right? But when the club captain comes out and says it, you need to listen. So, I mean, it's not even about keeping Callum McGregor next year. It's about where the club go. So, take that separately. I think they should keep that. He's got another year in his contract anyway. I think they should move him there to keep him, make sure he stays. But definitely listen to his words of advice. Follow it and be ambitious, because they're going to have to be. Rangers have got that together. Hearts are in town. They're not going anywhere. There's challenges there, so they have to match it.
What we don't know is whether Callum McGregor will be holding aloft a 5th consecutive Scottish Premiership title this summer. That's it. We're going into the post-split, Michael. It's one of the most fascinating title races we've seen in decades. Hearts remain on top just and head to Easter Road on Sunday. It's going to be an absolute corker. Will Hibs derail the Hearts title bid?
It's a cracker. It really is. I mean, it's been getting big billing and big build up. Listen, Hibs don't have as much to play for as such. I mean, their motivation is going to be as spoilers to ruin the kind of the title march for Hearts.
I think that's interesting, because people have been saying this is the biggest Edinburgh derby ever. Since 2012 even, but the Scottish Cup was bigger, and for that reason, sorry to interrupt, but I think you've hit the nail on the head there. There was something at stake for both teams in the Scottish Cup final. This is only Hearts.
Then again, Hearts and Hibs. Hearts got a chance to relegate Hibs a couple of years ago, didn't they? So the slightly kind of different, similar in the fact that Hearts could go there and really, really scupper their pals, their neighbours. So it's a huge game. It's exciting. It's a fixture that through the years has had some. It's a strange fixture, because you watch it in fascination, because there's been some dreadful games in terms of quality. But it's always got that intrigue factor, and the atmosphere's great. And this year, I think the game's been better this year. There's been some good games this year. I used to always say it was like watching two dogs in the park and wondering if they were fighting or making love. You couldn't work out what was going on. It was like, what are these two dogs up to? That was an Edinburgh derby. It was like a fascination with what's going on here. It's a terrible analogy, I guess.
Michael, going to just answer the question. Are we going to do? We've only got 2 minutes.
Talking about doggy hanky panky now.
We've only got 2 minutes.
I think Hearts are going to see it out. Do you
think Hearts are going to go to Easter Road and win?
I think Hearts are going to dig it out in the most dramatic fashion. It's going to be another epic battle. It's going to go either way. I think Hearts are going to emerge with a victory at Easter Road. It's going to put them a major step towards the title.
Well, that's interesting. See, if you're telling me now that Hearts are going to go there on Sunday and win, I'm not entirely sure they will.
Right.
But if you're telling me they are going to emerge victorious, then I think that could be key to the whole thing.
Yeah.
A derby win, everything about it.
You don't think they will, though? So what are you thinking?
I'm not convinced they will.
So what do you think the score's going to be then?
I think it could be 1 each.
1 each, a draw?
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me. I just think Hearts got a bit between their teeth. I think they might just eke it out.
Which takes us nicely on then, because obviously that's the last of the 3 leaders in action this weekend. Sunday tea time with Celtic first up. Saturday tea time, home to Falkirk. Rangers against Motherwell. Ibrox before that Edinburgh derby. So what twists will the title race take this weekend then?
She's. I'm at the point now where I'm not. But I'm at the point. We're at the point. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
I think Rangers look as though they've hit a bit of form and they're scoring goals. But again, weird and wacky at times. I mean, the Falkirk game a couple of weeks ago was wild.
Yeah.
I mean, at times you think they're 2-0 down early doors, and at that point you think, "Woof, this is crisis time." And then by the end, it's they're coasting and it's party time.
They still don't convince me, Rangers.
They still look a bit flaky at times, but they're
not
scoring goals now, and they've got a bit. I mean, that by the way, that was a major test. 2-0 down. I mean, that was the big question mark again, and they've come back. I thought there was big question marks after the two games against Celtic, where they played well in periods in both games. In the first half against Celtic, they were out of sight in the league game, and then the cup tie, they kind of battered Celtic without creating an awful lot of clear-cut chances, but they were dominant the most of the game. But it came out the wrong way. I mean, it was basically 2 draws, wasn't it? We didn't lose the games. We don't lose many, Rangers.
I think Falkirk and Motherwell, who obviously play the Celtic Rangers respectively this week, are not in good form. I think that's the thing. And the two of these teams at home, Celtic home and Rangers at home, it'd be hard to see them. It would be a major shock if either of them didn't win, let's be honest.
It looks like Falkirk and Motherwell are getting to the point that they've not got the biggest squads. I mean, Falkirk had a bit of disappointment of late, and then the cup tie, Falkirk would have been devastated at that one. So they look as though that might run the race, and Motherwell similar. So I actually think that there might not be twists and turns in terms of where we are Monday morning. I think the games themselves, I think Celtic will need to kind of just eke it out again, because the way their squad is, they're not going to be comfortable, and I don't think in games.
Even with the extra time burst, the exploding.
No, because they're relying on guys coming off the bench who they can't play these guys at the start. They've got too many guys that can't play 90 minutes. I mean, you get Celtic, you get Callum McGregor, Iniacho, Kieran Tierney, Oxlade Chamberlain, Arthur Johnson might be back. None of the guys can play 90 minutes, so they're having to manage it and then and keep guys in reserve. So I think Martin's game plan is stay in the game and then bring on the guys that can make a difference later on to try and nick it. That might be the same again. They'll get a result. I think Rangers will be quite comfortable. I think they'll get a result. And Hibs and Hearts will be a rollercoaster ride with Hearts at top. So I think it'll be as you were.
Yeah.
But the twists and turns will happen in game rather than in result.
Okay. So you were at Hampden, Michael, last week for us, but another Michael wasn't at Hampden. Michael Stewart banned from the entire Hampden footprint, as it turned out. I think he was in a kind of camera truck, wasn't he, on Saturday, and then it came out later that night he wasn't even allowed in the footprint of Hampden. Over criticism of referees. What do you think? Do you think the SFA were wrong to ban?
Yeah, I don't like journalists and pundits to get banned for having an opinion. And I get it. If the opinion's strong, then by all means, give them a phone and have a chat with them and thrash it out a wee bit. Listen, we've all been in this movie before as journalists. I mean, we've all had the phone call, and sometimes you can see, oh no, this is going to be an ear bashing, and you end up having to stand your ground. And I just think it made the SFA look a bit petty, and it creates a bit of a martyr out the guy as well. I mean, I think Mickey Stewart's a good pundit. I think he's cracking. He speaks his mind. Yeah, he can be quite forthright at times, and maybe when it comes to that kind of stuff, the referee thing, that he's maybe crept up towards the line and moved over it.
But I think we need to go back to the one, don't we, Michael? We need to actually, because a lot of people just say, well, criticism of referees and they can't take it. But there was this one. Now, he did apologise for it, to be fair, but I think it was St Mirren Hibs, wasn't it? St Mirren got a goal chopped off and they didn't use the right lines. Andrew Dallas on VAR, and he was accusing him of a cover-up.
Yeah.
He later apologised for it. I mean, you're then starting to question the integrity.
Yeah, talking about corruption and collusion and all that.
And he did apologise for that, to be fair. But some of his other criticism of officials, as you say, is, they can't be banning people for that, just for, being critical of performances.
No, I think it looks a bit petty, doesn't it? Yeah. Have you been banned, Gav? Have you ever been on a naughty step?
No, I don't think I have, actually. No, I can remember. But you have?
Oh, I've been banned.
Yeah.
I've been banned a few times over the years. I think I managed to upset Rangers back in the day when our old gaffer was in the PR department there. I got myself for some stupid line in a column, something daft. Yeah, I get chucked. And the SFA, actually, the SFA gave me trouble. I didn't get banned. Like an SFA, got a very strong letter from the SFA and a phone call about after the Inverness Cali Thistle handball, Josh Meekins,
yeah,
remember that one?
I remember that.
Because the kind of way that was dealt with after was a bit weird, and I think usual moan kind of slightly kind of tongue in cheek kind of way managed to upset them. So I'd Stuart Regan, it was, I think, on the phone, threatening to take away my privileges. But through the years, I've been banned a few times through the years.
I've been banned from Owen House.
I've been banned from plenty of pubs as well. But yeah, it's part of it. It's just part. If you put yourself in the filing with your opinions, you're not going. Clubs are not going to like your opinion at times.
No.
And you're going to, and sometimes they react by ban. I don't like bans. I mean, because I prefer dialogue to bans. I don't mind getting the phone getting picked up and you get shouted at and you say, right, listen to my opinion, your opinion. And so, by the way, you're not entrenched, because sometimes they'll come back at you and say, here's why you're wrong, Wake B and C D. And you go, you know what? I take your point.
Yeah.
So maybe I was overboard and a bit reactionary. That's what we do in this game. It's a emotive sport.
Yeah.
We get a bit involved, don't we? Yeah. Sometimes
but as I say, there is a line. I think there is a line, and that's where the Michael Stewart probably crossed it, but did apologise.
Yeah.
Now, the St Mirren game last week, as I say, you were at that Celtic St Mirren. Celtic exploded into life in extra time. St Mirren in relegation trouble here. We spoke about the top end of the table earlier. Who's in the biggest danger, do you think, of ending up in the relegation playoff place? So I'm saying St Mirren there because I think you're only talking. There's only a few teams there.
Yeah.
From Livingston.
Well, you're looking at we are looking at me. St Mirren, Aberdeen come up now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Dundee. Dundee. I think Dundee are going to be all right.
Let's see.
I think. Hang
on, no. Aberdeen and Dundee, same points.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we've got 5 points between Aberdeen and Kilmarnock. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 1 from 4 there.
I still think this is going to be Russian roulette, this position, because I think they're all going to be taking points off each other.
Yeah.
I think Kilmarnock will get points at Pittodrie. I don't think Aberdeen at the Woods. I know they had a good result against Hibs. Hibs was at 10 men. It was a welcome boost for them. I don't think they're at the Woods yet. I could see Kilmarnock have been better than the results have shown. At times they've been a bit flaky defensively. I mean, not a bit flaky. That's an understatement of the year. They've been terrible defensively.
Yeah.
But I think they can go and get a result at Pittodrie. And that drags Aberdeen back into it.
That really would, if you're saying that.
I expect St Mirren to go and get 3 points against Livingston, who are obviously on their way out.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be that. That's going to mean they're all back in the mix again.
Yeah. So what about Dundee? Because that's the one team that we haven't mentioned, and the one we clearly the very fact that we're kind of ignoring them when we named it.
Well, what have they got this weekend? They've got the big derby, haven't they?
Yeah.
Dundee United, who have had a decent season, but nothing spectacular. Dundee have got more to play for, I think. I wouldn't be surprised if Dundee went a result, even a point there. But even if they don't, I think they're all...
Dundee have impressed, haven't they?
I think they've been really good. I mean, I think at the start of the season, obviously they did Stephen Fezziger in there. It was kind of unfairly kind of leathered when he walked out the door, didn't he? But he's won them over. And I think they've been
to do with the image and all that of Stephen Fraser, isn't it, as well, and his interviews. I mean, he was getting kind of mocked for that as well.
He's just a bit. He's a kind of unique character, Big Elvis. But
good on him.
He's a good manager. He's done well. I think they've done really well, getting out of the bother and having relative stability. I think I can see them getting a point across the street, but it means they're all in that mix and it's Russian roulette. I worry about Aberdeen still. I think Aberdeen are the ones. I don't think they're at the Woods yet. I think St Mirren got a wee bit about them. They seem to have turned the corner a wee bit, St Mirren. By the way, I didn't think they played that well last week against Celtic. I know I thought they're brave, they come back, but the first half they were appalling.
And goalkeeper problems, obviously.
And the goalkeeper problems, so they're not out the Woods yet
I think you're right about them having Livingston this weekend is favourable. If they don't win that, trouble, big trouble.
Yeah. Totally. No, I get it. So exciting. That's going to be when the music stops. Who's stuck in that position, isn't it? I think. Right. Elsewhere, we'll go to the World Cup's brewing. Obviously, the Scottish squad. I mean, Steve Clarke's going to announce a 55-man squad, isn't he? We get a chance here, Gav. We get a mini pre-season in us.
I think we couldn't.
I don't know. They've got 55. They've got 55 players. But we're looking at, I think, you look at Steve Clarke's squad, surely he's probably got the vast majority. I mean, there may be 1 or 2 places up for grabs, I think, now, really, unless there's injuries.
Yeah.
But we're looking at striker areas. We've got a few guys that have come onto form who haven't really been involved over the last kind of 18 months. because of injuries or whatever else, the other reasons. And Ross Stewart is one of them, banging in a few goals.
Yeah,
Should he be on that plane? Is he bundling his way onto the plane?
I think. I mean, as you say, a lot of the positions will be set because we know Steve Clarke is loyal. I just think that's fair enough if that's how he wants to go about it. These guys have served him well. They've got him to the major tournaments. But you just want to see something a bit different in the squad. Don't you want to see somebody, and I think definitely in the striker department, Ross Stewart I wouldn't be against. I think there's a few names out there. I think Ollie McBurney, even Oliver Burke's now getting mentioned again.
Oliver Burke's been doing all right. Yeah, he's a bit different.
He's got the pace, just something. I think that has been the problem in the major tournaments. Euro 2020, Euro 2024. I think we only scored a couple of goals over the two tournaments. You think back to that last game in Germany against Hungary. Just dreadful in terms of having to come up with a goal.
Yeah.
So I think Ross Stewart, I think he's probably the pick of those. Scored again midweek for Southampton. He's got 6 and 11. He's missed a chunk of the season through injury. He scored big goals as well against Fulham, against Arsenal in the FA Cup, got them into the semi-final. I think I would go for him, but I think you could make a case also for Ollie McBurney. I think he's got 16 this season, more than Lyndon Dykes and Shea Adams combined.
I know.
So,
listen, Dykes, Adams, Shankland are all going.
Yeah.
You've got Tommy Conway, George Hurst, who that seem to be the ones that are occupying that role. Conway's slightly different. He's playing a different kind of role, isn't he, this season? Hurst, I think, did well against Ivory Coast without having that cutting edge.
Yeah.
I think you need to take somebody in form.
Yeah.
Somebody who's somebody. I know there's a loyalty issue and all that stuff, but especially strikers.
Yeah.
Strikers are streaky at the best times. If you get a guy who's in a hot streak, get him on the plane. So whoever finishes the season strongest in those positions, I think you've got to take them.
Yeah.
You've got to take them. So for me, if Stewart keeps banging in the goals to the end of the season, he's playing a team that's doing well, his confidence is high.
Yeah.
I would get him involved. We need something. I think Burke's an interesting one as well because he's different.
Yeah.
I know he's a kind of player that can infuriate because he's got that raw pace and it's sometimes not always controlled. And he's talking about game management and hold up play and all that stuff. And we need the guys that can do that because we need to keep the ball out there. But you need somebody who can give you something different. So I wouldn't knock him back either. But I think Stewart, if he keeps us going, then definitely.
Yeah.
Listen, we'll stay in England now as well because we're not just a tartan skirt show here, Gav. We like to expand our horizons. The English Premier League race, having looked like a done deal a few weeks ago, it's happening again, isn't it, Gav? Is it happening again?
You should have had that the wee Arsenal bottle with the Man City fan with the Arsenal tears.
Yeah, the crack. Are Arsenal bottling this league again?
It looks like it.
But you know what I mean?
No, it looks like it, but I think, I don't know how you feel, but I mean, so many people just want to see Arsenal win it for a change, don't they? They don't want to see Man City win it again.
Yeah.
So I do fear for them a bit, but if I'm trying to have a glass half full take on it, 5 of their remaining games are all against teams in the bottom half of the table. 4 of City's are against teams in the top half.
Yeah.
Another key thing here, Arsenal play twice before Man City's next league game. They've got Newcastle this weekend, Fulham. So if they win the 2 of them, they could be 6 clear before City go to Everton on a Monday night.
You're talking about the top
on a Monday night
playing against these teams, but look who they've been losing to. When they've been
Cup
with Southampton.
They drew with Wolves. I'm saying they're playing teams at the bottom, rock bottom Wolves. They drew.
That's what I mean.
So I know, but
they lost to Bournemouth.
I know.
So they're.
That was me trying to put a positive spin on it, right? Man City going to Everton on a Monday night, 6 behind. If Arsenal can win those 2, I think there's pressure there. Davy Moyes obviously had Arteta as a player. He'll.
So who is it they've got? Sorry, Fulham and
they've got Newcastle this weekend and then Fulham.
Newcastle who are on a bad run themselves, and it looks like they're having bother.
So that's their 2 games before City next play. But listen, they were 9 clear. Arsenal had a game in hand. They were top of the league from October to April, and they've lost the top spot at the worst time. I totally get that people will say, "Here we go again." And Man City, it's a bit like when Celtic, in Scotland. just when it comes to the run in, they know how to get over the line.
That's the problem.
And
I think,
Man City know how to do it. But as I say, they have got the tougher run.
And you know, the fact that it's a conversation topic, the bottle's going to go and the bottle's crashing, that seeps into the subconscious. And I just think Arsenal look a bit jittery. I mean, they've in terms of the league, I mean, they've done well in Europe as well. I think they're a good shout. I think a good shout for the Champions League, to be honest with you.
I saw a meme on X this morning when I was getting to train. It was Mikel Arteta sitting to get his hair cut, and the barber takes the mask off, and it's Guardiola behind him.
It's
just.
I mean, it's a bit. I mean, I'd like to see Arsenal win.
No,
it's been 20 odd years.
I definitely would, but I get the question.
It's been 20 odd years since they won the.
Yeah, two was it?
Aye, so 24 years, so they're long overdue. I just think I think Man City are going to do it now, because I just think Arsenal, the overwhelming pressure seems to have got to them early.
I can see the argument.
Yeah. However, what's next, Gav?
Right, let's go. Where are we going next? We're going to World Cup. Obviously the ticket prices, Michael, have caused a lot of controversy. This dynamic pricing, and then FIFA surprisingly launched another last minute ticket. I don't know how many last minute ticket sales fees you can get.
It's on our voucher.
So I just wonder, is FIFA's World Cup ticket sales strategy backfiring, do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's listen, they're doing their best to tarnish and diminish this World Cup. They really are. I mean, I thought that in terms of unsavoury tactics, I thought going to Qatar and Russia, I thought was pretty poor. But going to America, I think the exploitation of supporters, this whole process, has been despicable, really. And we talk about this, FIFA came out with this big wishy-washy stuff, like it's a global game, the people's game and all that stuff. Well, you're not showing that, because you're trying to fleece the people left, right and centre. So FIFA are fleecing them over ticket prices, which are, I mean, completely off the scale. And also the American businesses and local authorities and that stuff are also trying to fleece the fans as well. We've seen it, the train tickets and the bus tickets going through the roof. And I mean, the New Jersey officials saying, no, we have to charge this because of the amount of fans. Your stadium holds that every fortnight during the NFL season. So the same amount of people going to that stadium then, and you're going to charge people 3, 4, 5, 10 times for the same service. It's not on. The whole thing has been rampant capitalism gone wild, and it leaves as an old lefty, Gav, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. FIFA would remember Infantino came in, it was all the kind of we're washing away the stench of Sepp Blatter and the stench of corruption and all that stuff. And what's happened? They've actually managed to kind of go another level in terms of exploitation and opportunism. I think it's despicable.
This morning, Michael, alone, I read two stories that made me realise just how bonkers this is. I mean, as if we didn't know already. A World Cup final ticket for $2.3 million, about £1.7 million. Just think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
Right, now at least that's the final, as mad as it is. But then, the cheapest ticket for Cape Verde, I think it was Cape Verde v Saudi Arabia, $380. Cape Verde and Uzbekistan v Congo, $500.
$500 for Uzbekistan against Congo.
I don't even think they watched that game in Uzbekistan and Congo.
I mean, that's the thing. Who's
paying the price? But you know, I don't think they are, and I think that's the thing. Apparently, there's 5 million seats have been sold out of the 6.5 million total available for the tournament. But apparently, most of these have been blocked off for FIFA sponsors. So, in less than 40% have actually been sold to the public.
Yeah,
it's wild.
See, the whole thing about FIFA is it keeps telling us they want to grow the game and all that stuff. And listen, America remains the kind of the big market, which I know the MLS has been a success and it's done quite well. But you wouldn't say that it's quite smashed into that kind of NFL, NBA, the baseball and all that stuff. It's still down the list, right? And I've been to America and I've seen the soccer out there. So this was a chance to really good. They went to 94. I was in USA in 94, and you genuinely would not have known the World Cup was happening apart from in the stadiums. Like I was in certain cities at that time, and you would never have known. In terms of TV, banners and events. By the way, I mean I thought it looked great on TV probably, but in there we wouldn't know what's happening. And I fear that can happen again because Americans clearly aren't jumping on board because they're saying there's tickets remaining. This should be sold out. this should be sold out immediately. But the ticket prices, if you're a casual American who is not really a soccer fan, you want to go see Uzbekistan against Congo. Oh, man, yeah, let's go. That's our local stadium. What have we got? Oh, by the way, it's $100 for the train. It was only $6 last week. Oh, by the way, which tickets? $500. I'll tell you what. I can go and I went to see the New York what do you call it, the basketball team, the Mets, in Madison Square Garden. I made 2 tickets for $30 to go and see the Mets. Not going to happen. So you need to get a grip of it.
I'm just laughing at Uzbekistan. I'm sure it'll be a thriller when the time comes. But anyway, let's just I think the whistle has long gone. So let's finish off, Michael. With the snooker, the World Championships, our man Craig Swan, our good friend Craig Swan, is down there bringing you all the. I mean, and what a lucky man! He's going to get a second round, last 16 battle of the Golden Oldies. John Higgins and Ronnie O'Sullivan, absolutely mouth-watering. So he goes to the Crucible, Swanee, for the first time, and he gets treated to that. Who is coming out on top, Michael?
Well, first of all, let it be known that I did not write that question column on Golden Oldies. That's entirely on you. That one, the Golden Oldies. I would have said the Titans.
Oh, sorry.
Or the Legends. Okay, you're calling them Golden Oldies. And they're not that old. What, they're 50? 50. It's steady on. They're not far behind them.
They call themselves. In fact, I think Ronnie O'Sullivan described it as a Golden Oldies, so I'm going to give myself.
Right, that's good. Okay then.
It's actually just sad that it's coming so early. It would have been a final. You want that to be the final?
Yeah, exactly.
But who's winning?
I'm a huge John Higgins fan. I must admit, I've always followed John at the snooker a lot. I mean, I remember he won his world title was at 2011, I think it was. And it was just, I mean, he was tears in his eyes and all that stuff. And I was sitting bubbling and all, and it was brilliant. Absolutely sensational. He's been an absolute legend. I think he's got more form. I think he's in better form than Ronnie O'Sullivan. Ronnie O'Sullivan, we know, on his day, if he's flicked that switch, nobody can live with him, really. He's the best. He has been. I think he's the greatest. I mean,
well, John's played more, hasn't he? I mean, John Higgins has played more tournaments.
He's played more. He's showed consistency. That's the difference. This is kind of stability, consistency against kind of more talent and individualism and one-off performances. So I think Higgins has got a great, over the longer format, especially in terms of concentration. I think Higgins will beat him. I think Higgins will beat him.
Well, Sullivan beat him 6-0 when they last met. I know it was only
just
last month in Ireland.
The switch gets flicked and it comes on. Yeah, so it depends on what Sullivan turns up. I just sometimes think that if you catch Ronnie in a day when he's not quite at it, he's vulnerable. And I think Higgins is steady Eddie. He builds breaks, and I think he's been good. He's got a wee bit of fire in his belly. You see, his wee kind of. I mean, his wee kind of dig at Ali Carter last week, wasn't he?
Yeah.
The wee bit of needle there with between the two of them, which I like to see as well. I think Stoney was stoking up right enough. I think he was saying he said about you
trying to get a line for
you. He said about
you. You know, 75 times I've met in total.
Right,
Michael. Do you know how many wins? Who do you think?
Far apart. I don't think. I mean, imagine O'Sullivan maybe just edging it slightly. What are you thinking?
38-37.
So there you go.
There
you go. Oh, it's all set. A great start, that one. Two titans of the game. I mean, I think. I say Higgins is a Scottish legend. Not just a Scottish snooker legend, but it's definitely one for a Scottish legend. I think it's another title in him.
Yeah. And just finally met 6 times at the Crucible.
Right.
I think.
3 each.
3 each. There you go. So it really is a toss-up coin.
Well, we'll be cheering on the Wizard of Wishaw.
Definitely.
What's your what's the nickname? It's you. Wizard of Wishaw. What would you?
For me,
I think I could be there.
Could you be Gannon?
The clown for Coat Bridge. Something like that.
I was just looking for one there.
The Wizard of the West End. That could be you. You could be the. You're the.
Or I was thinking of Berry and Bays. You know, Green Bays Berry.
Anyway, that's for another day. The show's gone to pot. Thomas Snooker nicknames. There we are. So listen, we'll call it there. Thanks again. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons. That'd be very important to us. You can catch us always on the usual socials on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Apple Podcasts. As always, we welcome your comments. It's always good fun. Listen, don't forget to check out NordVPN in the description box for your discounts. It's very important. But again, thanks for watching and listening, and we'll catch you again next week.
Thank you.